Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'm sure most of you will be aware of the death of an unarmed man, George Floyd, in America, from Minneapolis. And in fact, it's better to call this a murder, as in fact, he was murdered. And it's crazy because if you watch the video, the man, he's seen pleading for his life. However, the police officer, he ignored his pain and kept on pushing down on George's neck, which inevitably led to his death. And some say that this shows that racism still exists in America. But subhanallah, the reality is, we already know this, right? How many of these cases do we see? However, brothers and sisters, it's important to point out that racism doesn't exist in America due to the people there being inherently racist. Okay, that's important to note. Rather, subhanallah, it's because of the prevailing ideology which the masses adopt and carry, which is capitalism. And capitalism breeds racism, it breeds nationalism, all sorts of discrimination. I'm better than you, my people are better than you, and hence why racism is a natural outcome. And the capitalists, they will always have like a token gesture, a man of color, to show that somehow they believe in equality. And they may even point to Barack Obama to say, look, the president, the commander-in-chief was black, but you just need to go and ask the people of Flint, Michigan, how black Obama is. So the problems that we see, they come from the capitalist ideology. And what you have to understand is that if the ideology is rotten to its core, then the fruits of this ideology can only be rotten. And we see this clearly. And in reality, the only bond which can unite mankind is the bond of Islam. There's a hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he said, "O people, verily your Lord is one and your Father is one. Verily there is no superiority of an Arab over a non-Arab, or a non-Arab over an Arab, or of a red man over a black man, or of a black man over a red man, except in terms of taqwa." Subhanallah. So we can see that the Islamic Aqidah is the only bond which can truly unite humanity. And history testifies to this. We see this from the very early days of Islam, when the pagans of Arabia, they were the first to witness Islam, and they were surprised by what they saw, because Islam broke the old bonds of allegiance, whether it was to your tribe, whether it was to your blood. And the body of the Muslims was made up of the rich, the poor, the noble, the slaves, the Arabs, the blacks, and even Romans and Persians. So this was something which was unseen, unheard of in Arabia at the time. And we can see that even when Islam expanded, it unified the people of 3 continents, which had never been done before. And it's true, people may point out to racism amongst Muslims today, and yes, it does exist. But what you have to understand is, without Muslims being on the deen, without them understanding and carrying their deen, without living in the Islamic state, where this kind of discrimination is minimal, and instead being affected by Western civilization, then yes, of course, this will affect Muslims, and even a Muslim can become a racist, and we see this. However, brothers and sisters, this racism would be due to the environment that the person grown up in, not because of Islam. And subhanallah, in the words of the late Malcolm X, he said that only Islam can remove racism in America. Subhanallah, indeed, brothers and sisters, Islam is the only deen. The Islamic Aqidah is the only bond which can truly unite mankind into a nation of brothers and sisters in Islam. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, translation and the meaning, "O mankind, we have created you from a male and a female, and made you into nations and tribes, that you may know one another. Verily, the most honorable of you with Allah is that believer who has taqwa." Subhanallah. So as you can see from this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us differently. However, it isn't these physical differences which make any of us more superior to another, especially in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, the one who is a believer, who has iman, the one who has taqwa, is the most honorable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So indeed, only Islam can unite people, whilst on the other hand, any other type of bond will only cause misery, oppression, discrimination amongst mankind. And this doesn't matter whether it's in the West or in the Muslim lands. Any bond that people bond around other than Islam will not bring unity. In fact, it will bring disunity. Subhanallah. I'll leave you on that note, my brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.